So I want to talk a little bit about my email story and why my battle for email is so important to me. But, I think that every single marketer out there uses a far too serious tone. So I'm going to get into some serious emotion. I'm going to tell you some really neat stuff. But while I'm doing that, I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I added a layer of humor to it? So this is some very serious topics, but I'm going to add a layer of humor. So let me tell you how my story began. So I had this client that I'd been working with for about 7 years. And in that 7 years that I'd been working with him, we had taken sales from 200 monthly paying members to about 8,000, from about 3,000 email addresses to about 460,000 email addresses. And everything was on Aweber. In fact, this is what the stats look like on the chart there. You can see the charts going all the way up there. The chart was trending upward. Everything was going pretty well. Everything seemed to be perfectly fine. And naturally, we were using email marketing to generate that list. We generated it using Aweber. And the craziest thing was that we sent a normal everyday email addressed to the list, and that email got an unusually high unsubscribe rate. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's been quite a few years since this happened, but I think we even told people, go ahead and, and unsubscribe if you wish, because we're only, we're doing certain things here, and long story short, it was, yeah. So the point is that at the end of the day, we sent out an email, and like I said, we told people that, if they weren't interested or if this wasn't something that was for them, feel free to unsubscribe. We got a slightly higher than our usual last 4 or 5 years of using Aweber complaint rate, and instantly they wanted to fault us for that. And so here's Aweber getting upset at us and deleting the account with absolutely no notice, no, hey, warning, you're getting kind of close to that limit. No warning signs whatsoever. So here I am, as you can see. I'm the blonde guy, although I'm not really blonde. But I thought this was a really neat analogy here. Here I am, this guy, sitting at a computer while Aweber's freaking out, and here's the client behind me, upset that naturally all the email addresses have gone and the account is shut down. Now, just to kind of give you a little bit of a step back for a second here, Aweber charged at that point about $1,500 a month for this account. So it's costing us $1,500 a month to have these email addresses hosted on the account. Not only that, but the, you know, like this client and many other people who find themselves in that same situation, they wind up actually going in and deleting contacts, even maybe potential contacts that that would be nice to keep, long term. I mean, like in a perfect world, in the rules of database management, you never want to delete any data because you never know when that data could be useful. So in this case, the client has been going in and deleting some because, of course, Aweber charges per contact. The more contacts you have, the more money you pay. So, anyways, we get shut down, and there's absolutely no access. They've deleted the entire account. That means the analytics, everything. So this is the ultimate bad news any business owner could possibly face. It doesn't get any worse than that. The list is king, as they say. It was generating all the revenue, and now it was gone. Now, if you're one of those people on Aweber, iContact, GetResponse, if you're on Infusionsoft even, or Mailchimp, or any one of those, if you don't back up your list on a regular basis, it's important to realize that that if they decided to shut down your account for whatever reason, or thing that's just recently changed or whatever, you would have no recourse. So I put this picture here because I can only imagine the 3 or 4 days between then and when we finally resolved this, that this client probably got absolutely no sleep. Anyway, long story short, so that's kind of the whole sad side of the story, is that here we are sitting there, and it's really sad. So first thing I do is I start power dialing everybody I know who knows something about email. First person I call is a guy who used to be the direct email coordinator for the company I used to work for, the Internet Marketing Center, and he tells me all the technology that we need, but basically says, I'm sorry, but I don't build email servers. And basically our entire plan is, let's get off ESPs, these little MailChimp, iContact, Aweber, GetResponse, those kind of things, and build a server where, the data is our own, the deliverability is our own. So, originally, the client I was speaking with was wanting to get something like StrongMail or a custom email appliance or something. So then I end up getting a hold of an old programmer who used to work at the Internet Marketing Center, who spent 15 plus years there, and she essentially comes on board, looks at everything we're doing, and says, "Hey, I can build something for you in the Amazon cloud." So we embark on the journey of building a custom email server. So in the Amazon cloud, naturally there's no hardware, this is just a funny image, but in the Amazon cloud, we go ahead and build this thing, and pay for the custom software. And you might wonder to yourself, well, why wouldn't you just use a computer in your office? Like, what do you have to do the Amazon cloud for? Well, the truth is that, if it were your own website server, for example, if it pins the CPU, if it sends out a ginormous email and the, email server gets overwhelmed, that would take your website offline if that happened to be where your website was hosted. So it's really important to have a dedicated box. And to have somebody who's monitoring something 24/7, for the cost, of an email server, I mean, it's obviously, dirt cheap to have a $40 a month box. So we build this thing in the Amazon cloud. We scrape and clean up the lists, and one of the important things that I learned was that it's not a good idea to email your entire list every single time. There are certain segments of your list that will, that are anxious to read everything you send. And of course, this is totally dependent on the market, and I'll get to that another time. But for now, what's important to know is that that we built a hot list, which is people who'd opened or clicked in 90 days. And if that was the case, then we can email them as often as we like, because they're obviously enjoying it and they continue to click and open and subscribe and enjoy the content. Now, for everybody else, we kept them on the monthly newsletter. So we developed this hot list, and for the first time in history, I was always used to 25, 35% open rates. I kind of figured that, and that's pretty decent, right? I mean, hitting a third of your list when you consider Facebook gives you 7% viewership on your fan base without paying for sponsored posts, and even with the EdgeRank algorithm of a personal account, with Twitter shouting in outer space, with Pinterest, with G+, we kind of realized that at this point, there's nothing better than email for hitting your tribe if you're going to host your tribe somewhere. Out of all the different ways that you can sort of build an audience, email still is king. However, around that corner, once we built this custom server, we were hitting 47% and higher. And in one case, there was even an email that went out with 52% opens to the hot list. So the barrier all of a sudden was unlocked, and what I realized was that the hot prospects, or the madly in love with us fans on the email list, had no problem delivering high open rates and high click-through rates. So the bottom line is that email is really a sleeper technology, and I call it that because obviously there is this huge opportunity for somebody who knows what the heck they're doing, builds an email server the right way, and sets everything up the right way. So the moral of the story, obviously, is that there's all these different lessons to deliverability that I learned along the way. In fact, I made a major screw up along the way, and so by double clicking in the system just in the wrong place, it actually created 3 mailings and mailed to the same list 3 times. 50,000 people got the same email 3 times. Now, we had a large percentage of people click the spam button because they're thinking, okay, well, this guy's obviously going to do this all the time. Now, I wasn't, but I mean, they have no way of not knowing that. So, long story short, that's kind of what happened there. The beauty of having your own custom email server is that we were able to provision another IP address for $20 a month. Now that IP address hit the Yahoo inboxes and all the other places that we had issues with right away. So let me dive into some deliverability lessons though. First of all, I had no idea that even if you are on one of those smaller carriers like the Aweber, GetResponse, iContact, MailChimp accounts, that you can set up these things called DKIM and SPF. Now, I won't dive deep into what they are, but what you should know is that these two things are very simple to set up. They're something you set up in your GoDaddy or your Namecheap account, your domain registrar account. Just like when you built your first website, if you ever attached your name servers, these are your MX records. They're just another batch of records that you have to put on there. So they will marry up your email server or your sending server with the actual domain name and basically give you authenticated mail. So that's one thing that helps you hit the inbox a little bit more frequently. The other things that you can do is obviously suppress the unengaged. You can do things where you're not mailing people who aren't getting anything out of your content. I mean, if they're not opening the emails, or if they're opening them but they're not clicking on anything within them, it's a pretty clear indication that they may not actually even like what you send, and maybe we don't need to send them. So that's one way. Another thing that you can think of when it comes to email deliverability is what you actually put in the email. So obviously you want to suppress certain words like Viagra. Try not to use too many spam trigger words. So there's a bunch of tools out there that you can use to look at Bayesian filtering and take a look at what words you use. Not using just an image with no text in an email obviously is a very good idea. There's all kinds of other things you can do as well too, like educating your entire list to whitelist your IP address. There's constant monitoring of your feedback loops to make sure that people aren't clicking the spam button and things like that. When traditional users, they don't really have there's a large percentage of people who don't realize that when you click the spam button, you're not just deleting it or training your personal email system to manage your email for you. You're actually telling the ISP, hey, I just got spammed. And the ISP goes back to the person who sent the mail, if they're signed up for a feedback loop, and tells them, hey, our customer just called your email spam. This is a warning. And if they receive too many complaints from your IP address, like for example, Gmail, let's say that 30% of your email subscribers are on Gmail accounts, and of those 30%, a high percentage of those click the spam button, you'll find you won't be able to reach Gmail anymore with your emails. So bottom line is, if you're monitoring these feedback loops, you can sort of see something like that coming before it becomes a big issue, and kind of see that percentage of subscribers who are complaining, and hopefully remove them off the list right away. That was another huge eye-opener for me, is that major email systems around the globe, even Aweber in some cases, will not remove somebody after they click the spam button. So you can see the complaint rate in Aweber and MailChimp and these different systems, but lots of them won't even remove that person. Can you believe that? Emailing people who don't even want your stuff, who are voicing they don't want your stuff, that there are tools that will show you that. And really, if you don't know these things, like I didn't way back in the day before all these issues came up, it can cause all kinds of troubles. So what I want to tell you now is that basically I have a dream. I dream that one day there will be a book on the shelf called Maximum Open Rates, which I've already written and published, and it's ready to go. But one day there's going to be a book that, if you ever are curious, if you're ever struggling with email and you're thinking to yourself, why can't I reach the inbox? Why do I only get 20 or 30% open rates? Why am I not converting an email? Why can't I figure out, I don't have a clue what I should be sending them. How do I keep them engaged? How do I keep my open rates high? How do I warm up a brand new IP address? What do I do if I've, gotten kicked into the spam box? Or what do I do if I've been blacklisted somewhere? All of those questions are answered in my new book, Maximum Open Rates. Anyway, I have a dream that every single business in the world will collect email addresses. It's critical to me. And it's not just about being able to market to your customers or past customers. There's far more to it than that. In fact, it's actually more about being able to create your tribe, being able to create that group of people who are dedicated to seeing you succeed and helping them be able to rally around your products, rally around your message and your business. And when you reach 1,000 sales and 5,000 sales, being able to share that with your list, being able to develop an actual relationship with them, getting to know their hopes, dreams, desires, needs, budget even, and really being able to service those people and take good care of them, survey them, run their systems through their email addresses through Facebook and get an idea of what kind of pages they like and who they are, and then making sure that for the next coming decades after this, that your entire business is dedicated to really serving those people who constantly buy your stuff and learning about who they are and figuring out what they want before they even know they want it. So all of this is possible with email. Email is the only technology that you can build your list on, your tribe, keep them contained in one place, keep the conversion tracking in the same place as well, and be able to email only people who bought a certain something. Keep track of different stats of what links they've clicked on, what survey answers they've given, and say only mail certain people who said they like pizza on Thursdays, or whatever that thing is. It's one of the few platforms out there where all of these things are possible, and it's not super expensive. Remember I said that Aweber with 400,000 contacts was costing about $1,500 a month. Well, an Amazon cloud server is $40 to $50 a month. The cost of deliverability system like SendGrid is only $9 at the bottom of the line, and at the top of the line I think it's $79 a month to send to an enormous amount of addresses. The bottom line is that this technology is not expensive. What's expensive is the lack of knowledge that exists out there. So help me, share this video, tell people that, hey, there's this guy out here that wants to tell his story of how one client got screwed and got in big trouble with one of the major ESPs, and Dan seeked out an answer, found all these different things to hit the inbox, and now I've actually gone and put all this together. And my information wouldn't be all that credible if it was just this one client and this one fluke and this one list. I mean, I'll be honest, the first list that I ever worked with at this scale was a pretty tame audience. It wasn't weight loss or insurance or anything like that. However, I've now built email servers for multi-million-dollar companies. We've done this over 15 times. We've had clients that have been in the info marketing space. We've had clients that were in the social marketing space, that were in the weight loss space, that were in the various other supplement spaces, in the baseball niche and the golf niche and all these different niche markets. Even in the gun niche, we had one client that was doing firearms. So I can guarantee you that what we've learned and what we've applied to different people's businesses works. So if you're curious about finding a way to solve these kind of things and hit the inbox, make money, figure out what to say to these people, find out who they are, and take care of them for years to come, please take a look at emaildeliverabilitybook.com and take a look at the book there. But more importantly, just share to other people that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that this is possible, that you can do something.